I purchased this hat. Check out the size of this brim on this hat. It's absolutely huge. Good morning. I'm in Evergreen, Colorado today, and I have a bit of a sunburn from yesterday. So I've done three things to try to prepare and avoid this in the future. And I should have known. I should have known. Really, when I was going over there to walk on Dinosaur Ridge in the previous episode, which I'll link up here, I thought about it on the way, but I was running a little bit late. I wanted to meet my friends, and so I chose meeting my friends over being prepared for the sun. So anyway, three things. First, I purchased this hat. Check out the size of this brim on this hat. It's absolutely huge. But anyway, it's not necessarily my style, which is more like a fedora style that I prefer, but it'll work, and it certainly has a wide brim and will give me a lot of sun protection. For the sunburn, I purchased some aloe stuff that I've been putting on my face, and then for next time I'm going out in the sun, I have some sunscreen here. This is SPF 70. So this is pretty serious stuff here, SPF 70. So I think I'm set in the future. Today's going to be a little bit of a slow day. I think I'm just going to do a little bit of work on the step van and then some sightseeing in the local area. And just sort of taking it easy because the sunburn, I think it sort of takes a lot of energy out, and just anyway, it's going to be an easy day, and hopefully it'll be an interesting episode for you. Maybe not. Who knows? It's time to remove the last of the insulation and ceiling panels. I have two panels left. A few people have been asking some questions, like making sure I keep track of the metal panels and where the holes are and which way they're oriented. I'm not really worried about that. The plan is to replace the insulation that was up here, the fiberglass insulation, with polyiso foam boards. So I'm going to get polyiso foam boards to fit in the gaps between these ribs up here. And then after those are up there, then I'm going to put a layer of rolled cork over the top. So that'll be the new surface layer instead of having that metal up there, which I think is highly reflective acoustically, and I don't know, a lot more commercial looking. I'm going to replace that with the cork, which is a renewable, very nice natural looking type thing, and I think that'll make for a nice ceiling. So that's my plan for the ceiling. So I'm going to remove the rest of these panels, and I'm going to reuse these metal panels here and put them along the walls. So the bottom of the walls, the bottom 40 inches or so, is going to be metal paneling, and mostly it's going to be covered by benches and cabinets and things like that, except for the area that's under the bed. The bed's going to be 40 inches tall, and under the bed is going to be this pseudo garage area. In the van community, sprinter van community, they call that a garage. I'm going to put bicycles and storage and tools and things in there. So that area will be lined with this paneling, which will be repurposed and reused from the ceiling. So that's the plan on what I'm going to do with that. I'm disposing of the fiberglass and keeping the metal sheets to go around the walls. Well, all of the insulation and all of the metal panels in the ceiling are out. It looks like there's about 1.5 inches here that I'm going to need to replace for insulation. Hopefully that'll go fairly smoothly. I'm going to probably hold off a couple of weeks on actually putting in the insulation to do wiring of the ceiling fans. I've ordered 4 cameras, one for a backup camera and then one for each side in the front. Those should be arriving any time now. So I'm going to get everything wired in and try to run some extra wires just in case in the future I want to add some things up there. Try to get everything pre-wired for solar. As much work as I can get done for the ceiling and cut the holes up there. Do all of that before putting the insulation in. So here this week I'm probably going to be focusing mostly on getting the bed frame built and the garage space underneath, so that by the end of June, when the contract for my storage unit expires, I'm able to move everything out of the storage unit and into here and have a nice bed to be able to take naps on, sleep, you know, all that stuff. Make it a lot more comfortable in here for a living space. I'm working on editing this video, and I realize that it's just not one of my best videos. There's just not good continuity between different sessions working on the step van and this next part. So basically I took a lunch, took a nap, and then I was doing some wandering around, and that's what you see in this next part. So anyway, that's why I'm sort of jumping from one area to the next. When I was about 12 years old, my father took a job in Lakewood, Colorado, which is probably about 10 minutes from here. And I'm just halfway between Lakewood and Evergreen in an area called Genesee Park. And there's a campground here. This is the main lodge for it. And then back over here you can see the campers, the trailers. And so we stayed in this campground an entire summer. I think at the time we were living in Utah. So the entire family came down here, and we lived in a Starcraft pop-up camper, and it was 3 kids and my mother and father, and my father drove down 10 minutes to work each day and came back up here. But we had a spectacular summer. It was an amazing experience. If you ever have an opportunity to go as a family and camp all summer in a campground, particularly in Colorado in the mountains, it was just spectacular. It was so much fun. One of the interesting stories, we actually purchased a animal here. It was a Mississippi kite hawk that had a broken leg, and another camper coming through was trying to sell it, and my parents bought it. And so we had a kite hawk for maybe a year, year and a half before it passed away. But that happened just as the summer was closing. We purchased the hawk, and then we drove back to Utah. But I was just driving past the campground just a couple of minutes ago, headed to Genesee Park, and I thought I'd stop and mention that, and also just sort of show this video for my sister and my parents that might be watching. Thought they might find this interesting. Well, that's all I have for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Not the most diverse and interesting episode that I've ever done, but every day can't be like super spectacular interesting, and it's sort of real life. I'm just sharing that with you in these daily vlogs. Well, it's mostly daily. It's not every day. I usually take one day off or something, sometimes 2 days off a week. And anyway, thank you for watching. Savor the moment. See you next episode.